Welcome into the inaugural National Prep Stars Show here from Copper Sky Recreation Center in Maricopa, Arizona. Alongside Donovan James, I'm Michael Caratenuto. And man, what a first show we have. We're going to have highlights from all across the country, top players, top teams. And speaking of top players, well, we're going to talk about quite a few of them. The top 4 quarterbacks in the 2018 class. Oh, also the top 2 from the 2019 class, who it seems like they've been around forever and should be gone, but they still have one more year left of high school. And how Boise State was able to pull off the double. Yes, the double, getting 2 top running backs in the West Coast to commit. It is going to be a nightmare for defenses when those 2 backs get up there to Boise State, but you're going to have to stick around to see who that is, as we like to call that a tease in the business. But well, Donovan, I said highlights, and we are going to get right to it. I mean, Mater Dei taking on their rival, Servite. Mater Dei, number 1 in the country, number 1 in California, number 1 in the country, looking for a state championship, but a national championship as well if they could run through the playoffs in California and get the title. But their rival, Servite, they're going to try and have something to say about it, but let's see how the game worked out. Well, you see the Servite Friars, the student section getting pumped up, their players pumped up as they take the field. But Mater Dei and their quarterback, JT Daniels, the ringleader, figuratively and literally, brings them out onto the field. And here he goes early, JT Daniels hooking up with Horace McCoy III. I just like saying his name. Look at that on that slant, catches the touchdown, and Mater Dei's up 7-0. But then Servite has to answer this big play from McMahon, hits Julius Irvin on this post pattern, and Irvin does the rest of the work, outrunning everybody to the end zone for the 61-yard Friar touchdown, tying the game up at 7. But just like that, Mater Dei would answer quickly. JT Daniels flips the ball to Amon-Ra St. Brown on the jet sweep, and St. Brown does the rest of the work. He jumped over a defender, and look at that, a clean uniform running into the end zone. They're up 14-7 just 11 seconds later. And then look at this, the handoff from Daniels goes to Chris Street for the 4-yard touchdown, putting Mater Dei up 21-7. Street very happy. He's like, yay, the running back finally got the ball. And look at this, JT Daniels says, you know what, we'll reward you again. And look at the line up front, the big boys up front doing their job as Street would go in from 7 yards out, 28-7, Mater Dei leading. And then look at this. Daniels again dropping back to pass, scans the whole field, and hooks up with Horace McCoy III. And that is his 3rd touchdown of the game. And the route was on. Servite had nothing. And look at this. To cap it off, Daniels delivers maybe the throw of the game to the catch of the night, too, to Amon-Ra St. Brown, who had a lay out right there. And look at that. Tosses the ball to himself. 49-7. But the defense gets to add the exclamation point. Look at that crushing hit by Nathan Logolios, who comes through right there and just crushes it, showing why they're number 1 in California, but definitely, Donovan, sending a message to the rest of the country why they think if they win a state championship, they could be the national champs this year. But there's a team from all the way across the map in your neck of the woods that might want to have a little bit talking done about themselves. A very talented team as well.
Yeah, the number 2 team in the state goes into a trap game on the road versus Trope County, and they had upsets on their mind for sure out there. So we'll see who gets a W. Now to the highlights of Trope County versus number 2 team in the state, Cartersville. Montez Lowe drops back in the first quarter. Interception to open the game, and that would be the story that sticks against Cartersville pretty much all night. Rico Fry, next play, gets a draw from Trevor Lawrence T-Law to make it 10-0 early on for the undefeated Hurricanes. Hurricanes keep on going, looking like the Miami Hurricanes a little bit with the undefeated story. Trevor Lawrence dropbacks, play action pass, flea flicker, bombs away. Easy money with Jackson Lowe for the connection. They've connected a lot all year, and that was easy money, like I said. And big play, 6 points to make it 17-0 for the Hurricanes. Looking at Trevor Lawrence right there, number 1 quarterback in the country. Montez Lowe drops back. Screen pass going for 68 yards. They're trying to stay close, Trope County, with the big connection for 68 yards. Montez Lowe trying to make men's meet for the turnovers. Montez Lowe drops back, connects with his favorite target, Kobe Hudson, to get Trope County on the board. Worth a long celebration right there, I'd say, right? For LaGrange, team out of Trope County, will get on the scoreboard. Montez Lowe tries to make a play happen. Runs with his legs, trying to get it done with his legs a little too much. Another turnover for the Hurricanes. A stingy defense for the Hurricanes. Another big one right there. Making it easy for the Hurricanes. Trevor Lawrence done it again. Handoff. Another draw play to Mr. Rico Fry to make this a 24-7 ball game for the Hurricanes. Montez Crow drops back. The pass throws. Another interception to Marco Dudley. Turnover is the story of the game. Like I said at the beginning of the highlights, I mean, it was just turnover central, turnover party for Hurricanes. Montez Lowe. Bomb. Tries to make it a game. Another completion. A striker. 39-yard striker to the junior wide receiver, Jamari Thrash. I like that name, Jamari Thrash. It's a good name for a wide receiver right there. Trying to make it a close one, but another turnover for the Hurricanes. Another one. Stingy defense. And that was pretty much the end of the game right there. The Hurricanes took control. They were driving down the field, and Trevor Lawrence does it. Pump fake. Throws a bomb. Breaks the record of 155 touchdowns by Deshaun Watson with a throw right there. He has 156 career touchdowns, the most in Georgia State history, and 36th of the season for Trevor Lawrence, and another win for the Hurricanes. Undefeated for the season going into the state.
Well, man, Donovan, you talk about it right there. I mean, what a game, obviously, by Cartersville. And Montez Lowe, I mean, he delivers a good ball, but I mean, he's definitely going to have nightmares about that Cartersville secondary. Right. Even if most of them are gone next year, he is going to have massive nightmares about that Cartersville.
The playoffs again, actually.
Oh, wow. Well,
he'll be at home this time, though.
Well, hopefully he gets all his mistakes out of the way, because he's not going to be able to do it with giving the ball back to that offense, and that defense is just pinning its ears back. But we roll on with the highlights. Again, all the way back across the map to California, where Corona Centennial was taking on King in Riverside. And Donovan, I mean, it's one of those games where Centennial, again, trying to make a statement there. They did lose to IMG early in the season, but obviously
number 2 team in the country, and the quarterback goes down early in the first quarter. It's not too bad of a loss. You can still run the table in the state of California.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I mean, they are led by quarterback Tanner McKee, again, trying to take it to King. How bad could they take it to King? Well, we're going to find out right now. You see right there, Corona Centennials, only one team can wear the crown, region champs. They already are looking just to roll into the playoffs. And Tanner McKee with the play action to Octavio Cortez and finds Jace Presley. Look at this. He slips down. It looks like his knee might be down, but he got up so quick, he fooled the officials and goes into the end zone for the Centennial touchdown. Then later in the half, McKee on the play action again, then hits Chris Venable on the slant for the touchdown, and they are off and running. But then the defense says, hey, I want to get involved. And look at Drake Jackson, big number 99, shoots his gap, gets into the backfield, and look at him throwing Ronnie Kaufman down WWE style. Then, well, King decides to punt the ball, and Centennial's Deuce Reynolds picks it up on that big hop, switches fields, goes all the way down the far sideline, picks up a convoy, and look at this. He is going to coast into the end zone, and right at the end, give us the sprinter finish to let us know he got across the goal line. But that would not be the only one. Later in the half, deep in their own territory, King has to punt again, and this is a mistake. This time they punt it to him, but look at this. It's a line drive punt, and he takes it at Centennial's 45-yard line, then goes back down the far sideline, 55 yards. He gets grabbed there a little bit, but sheds the blocker, does the track finish again. And, man, Deuce Reynolds, the special teams player of the week right there for Centennial. Later in the game, Tanner McKee hands off to Octavio Cortez. Look at that, 5 yards out. The bowling ball puts his shoulder down and rips across the goal line, giving the linemen the hugs that they deserve, because the Big Ugly's getting it done up front. And then look at this, play action again. And then McKee hits Jace Presley out in the flat. This time he's on his feet, no doubt there as he went down, but the ball crosses the pylon and the touchdown. The route is on. And then McKee would bomb the ball downfield to Arturo Herrera, for another Centennial TD right before he steps out. Herrera looks like another day at the park. And then, well, hey, why not get some sophomores involved? It's a blowout. Look at this. Nicholas Floyd gets it on the scoring fiesta with this 30-yard rushing touchdown. Goes up the middle, running a little up right there. I want to say almost like a little Eric Dickerson with that running style. And then look at this. He caps the scoring off with a 40-yard touchdown run. Look at that cutback for the sophomore. Another juke right there and just crushing the defense, getting into the end zone. And, man, Centennial of Corona, 62-0. And you want to talk about dominating and sending a message.
Oh, yeah.
Whew, they did just that. I mean, obviously, Tanner McKee, the senior quarterback there, I mean, you see what he can do, but just delivering the ball, the offense is just flowing. Man, they are just a bear to deal with.
Matt Logan has them rolling. Tanner McKee has them rolling, and that's what we'll talk about. Tanner McKee in a second, 2018 class quarterbacks. But I mean, that's a team that keep your eye on them. They're underrated. They're not the private school, big school, but still always in contention to win a state championship.
Well, they look like, we talked about weapons. They look like they have quite a few weapons as well that could maybe bring home a state championship in California for Centennial out of Corona. Yes, he is Donovan James. I'm Michael Karras. You know, like he said, we're going to step aside, but when we get back, we are going to talk about the big four quarterbacks of this 2018 class. We have Matt Corral, Trent Lawrence, Tanner McKee, and Justin Fields. Again, a solid quarterback class. We're going to get to it. Also, the 2019 quarterback class, and yes, we're still not telling you who, but the two running backs from the West Coast, two of the biggest running backs of the West Coast, headed up to Boise State to play their college ball. All that coming up here on National Prep Stars. Back here on National Prep Stars, Donovan James, I'm Michael Karras, and we talked about it. Well, 2018 quarterbacks, these are some pretty big names affecting, obviously, the landscape of college football for the next few years. But Matt Corral, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Tanner McKee, all four big quarterbacks. And, Donovan, let's start with Matt Corral out of Long Beach Poly. I mean, this kid, very big, obviously big, and you're getting recruited big and talented, but, I mean, just what he can do, I mean, what do we expect from the future of this kid? I mean, obviously, I would think a lot because, again, he's having a pretty solid career as Matt Corral.
Yeah, I mean, his career started out at Oaks Christian in Westlake Village, and it's, you know, he transferred, had some issues there, transferred to Long Beach Poly, just still rolling. I mean, he's committed to Florida right now. We'll see where he goes. Obviously, they lost Coach McElwain. They fired him earlier in the season a couple weeks ago. But I think he'll stay committed to Florida, like you were saying. I mean, there's a lot of schools out there that still want him, UCLA, Michigan, UGA, but I would stay with Florida. I mean, depending on what coach, he's a dual-threat quarterback. He can run the ball really well, has one of the strongest arms in the country. Actually, Trent Dilfer was saying he's got one of the strongest arms he's seen at Elite 11 and at the opening ever. And he's been doing that competition for over a decade, going into 2 decades now. So, and he does have one of the strongest arms, definitely in the state right now and in the country. So it's easy for him to say that. And he's got 118 completions on 189 attempts. That gives him a 62.4 completion percentage, 2,220 yards, 25 touchdowns, only 5 picks. And he's ran the ball really well this year as well. So,
yeah, and if he does go to Florida, like we were talking about, I mean, he could be that guy. But again, it depends what coach is coming in. I mean, when you have a quarterback like that, again, that has one of the strongest arms, and like you said, a Super Bowl winning quarterback like Trent Dilfer is going to say, I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, Dilfer playing in the NFL for a while might know what a strong arm takes to play. So Matt Corral, I mean, from Long Beach Poly, again, if he does stay at Florida, like I said, depends on the coach coming in, but that'll be very, very interesting. Speaking of interesting, you know, from your neck of the woods again, Trevor Lawrence out of Cartersville High School. I mean, this kid has just done everything, just keep getting better and better. What can he do in the future to impress us?
I mean, Trevor's been the man in Georgia for a while now. I mean, he's got 36 touchdowns, only 1 interception, 2,870 yards on a 70.6 completion percentage, 26 winning streak at Cartersville, 26 games in a row, so he's 26-0. State title last year, Gatorade State Player of the Year. should repeat that again easily. He's state player of the year, and he's definitely gonna. They're the clear favorites in 4A to win the state championship again. Like I said, he just broke Deshaun Watson's record. He's done everything you need him to do. Sunshine, as they like to call him, has done it with the long blonde hair. But he's going to Clemson, and Clemson fans would be very happy to get a 5-star quarterback in. Deshaun Watson was a great quarterback, obviously the best quarterback in their school history. And then you got Kelly Bryant right now. They're number 4 in the country, and you're getting the number 1 quarterback in the country coming in. What else could you ask for if you're a Clemson fan? Dabo seems like he's going to be there for a while. So what's not to like about Trevor Lawrence and Clemson right now?
Well, yeah, and I mean, if you're a Trevor Lawrence, I mean, just a coach, like you said, like Dabo, he's one of those guys that just exudes. You're doing things right. He's going to be a fun guy to be around. I don't think I want to be on his bad side, but again, such a great, I think, system for him to be in. And I mean, like you said, if he has to make some plays with his feet, he can extend the play. That's all you really need to do. Extend the play. Don't take too many sacks. And, yeah, for Trevor Lawrence, I mean, you break Deshaun Watson's record, obviously. I'm sure he probably helped a little bit in that recruitment, too. I mean, for Dabo. Yeah, exactly. Being from Georgia, going to Clemson, nice for Dabo to call somebody, hey, I need you to call this kid for me. No, but no, that's, I mean, again, it could be very interesting down there in South Carolina in the next few years. And then the foreseen Tanner McKee out of Centennial. I mean, you see this kid, big, strong. I mean, the play action, gets the ball downfield. And I was saying to you, I mean, I think the only thing is sometimes his arm is so strong that he'll wait a little bit too long to throw the ball, where his receiver might be waiting for it in the end. But, I mean, again, he has to have the arm strength to get it there, and he absolutely does. Where's his future taking him?
He's got a big visit coming up with Stanford on the 24th. He just had a visit at the LSU Alabama game. That was really big for him. He liked the environment, being out in SEC country and being at Alabama. I mean, perennial best team in the country year after year with Nick Saban. Being in that atmosphere in that locker room was huge for him. He had an A&M visit a couple weeks ago as well. He's leaning towards Stanford right now. He's still got UCLA in the mix, Michigan in the mix. I think Stanford, when he goes out there to Palo Alto, that's going to be really big for him. He's got a lot of quarterbacks, though. You got KJ Costello from Rancho Santa Margarita that's starting right now. You got Keller Christ, and then you got Davis Mills as well. So there's going to be a lot of competition. But there's a guy that can compete and get in the competition. Tanner McKee is definitely that guy. He's one of that competition.
Yeah, and him being in California, I know, like you said, going to LSU, checking that out. But I mean, he knows you can't beat the sun and the atmosphere of Palo Alto. I mean, and David Shaw too.
Watch out for Notre Dame. Watch out for Notre Dame too. That could be.
Ooh, Notre Dame might sneak in on him, huh?
I mean, they play each other. It could be at that game, and Notre Dame number 3 in the country right now. Looks like they're back. Brian Kelly's got them rolling, so watch out for them as well.
Well, and they're a big physical team too. I mean, if he sees that line up front and he knows what kind of offensive linemen are coming in, Notre Dame has got back to that physical type of play. But yeah, I mean, I could see. Again, Tanner McKee going to Stanford, battling, and I mean, winning that job. Maybe not as a redshirt, but maybe not as a true freshman, but maybe if they redshirt him as a redshirt or freshman, he takes that job. I mean, again, he's got the size. We know he's got the arm. I mean, you got to tweak a few things, but man,
he's got the IQ to get to Stanford too. And that's a big thing.
Exactly. I was just about to say,
That's a school that's not just. It's hard to get in that school. They just don't accept football players. They have students first, and then athletes second. So Tanner McKee's definitely that guy. One of the smartest kids I've been around for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see if Pac-12 lands another big quarterback like McKee. And then last but not least, again, from Harrison High School in your neck of the woods in Georgia, again, Justin Fields. I mean, a little bit of a bummer for him this year with what happened. But, again, I mean, still a very, very solid quarterback.
Yeah, the game earlier this year, a few weeks ago, he broke his finger on ESPN. It was tough for him. Made some great plays. That throw at the halftime he made is why he's the number 2 quarterback.
Was that on his throwing hand?
Yes, it was on his throwing hand. That's why he's the number 2 quarterback in the country, and Georgia fans are going to love him. I know they got Fromm and Easton there right now, and he's going to have his work cut out to earn his way up the depth chart. But Justin Fields he's an amazing quarterback. He throws dimes. So that's why he won Elite 11 out in the opening in Beaverton, Oregon. I mean, he's one of the, like I said, better quarterbacks in the country. Dual threat guy.
Right.
Reminds me a lot of Jameis Winston when you look at his game and what he can do. Dual threat, and he's a great baseball player like Jameis as well. Might be playing baseball at Georgia and football like Jameis did when he was at Florida State. So that's something to look out for as well.
Well, multiple sport athletes again, and that's why you can tell that they all have that skill. And again, for Justin Fields, again, bummer that at least it's only a finger. I mean, it's a bummer it happened to him his senior year, but
it is.
At the same time, I mean, we know he'll rebound. And we're going to step aside though real quick. And like I said, we're going to hit the 2019 quarterbacks who, both have been starting on varsity since they were freshmen. And for one of these, a little bit surprising in the program that he did it in. But again, they seem like they've been around forever, and they still get to torment high school defenses for one more year after this. And also, yes, the 2 running backs that are headed up to Boise State, the two probably biggest on the West Coast for Boise State to land, and they do just that. Donovan and I have more coming up here on National Prep Stars. Back here on National Prep Stars, the inaugural show from Copper Sky Recreation here in Maricopa, Arizona, with Donovan James. I'm Michael Caratanudo, and we said we're going to get to the 2019 quarterbacks, and yes, Spencer Rattler, the junior from Pinnacle High School here in Arizona, and JT Daniels from Mater Dei in California, both, like I said before the break, starting since they were freshmen. Spencer Rattler started as the season as the varsity starting quarterback when he was a freshman, and for JT Daniels halfway through the season at Mater Dei. But yeah, I mean, let's look at Spencer Rattler. Donovan, this kid, I mean, just ridiculous. Like I said, started from the time he was a freshman, started to get looks and offers, but man, just a very, very solid career he's had up to this point.
Right. I mean, that's why he's committed to Boomer Sooner in Oklahoma. Yeah, he's going to play for Bob Stoops now. Lincoln Riley's still there, offensive coordinator. Definitely love to play for him. That's a guy people love to play for him. Look at what Baker Mayfield's doing right now. They got Kyler Murray to transfer in as well, so he'll be right behind Kyler Murray. Austin Kendall as well, another great quarterback that's there. I mean, he's got one more season, of course, but 40 touchdowns to only 10 picks, 3,366 yards. I mean, 4 touchdowns on the ground, 230 yards on the ground as well. Only on 65 carries. When he runs, he can run, and he runs effectively. And that's why Pinnacle should make a deep run into the playoffs. We can see what they do. He's on a team that's not the greatest team ever, but he makes that team a lot better. Yes. Kind of like Baker Mayfield, what they're doing. They're sneaking around the college football playoff because of him, and that's what you can get out of Spencer Rattler. Definitely.
Yeah, and the thing that, to me, where he's improved the most, and of course it comes with age. I mean, as a freshman, they're probably not going to open up the whole varsity playbook. I mean, it was more like you have 1 or 2 reads to make, and that's it, maybe 3 at most. But his footwork, I mean, you see him now, even when he's scrambling just to get away, extend plays like we were talking about earlier, extending plays, and then he'll just literally come to a stop, set his feet, and then drill the ball down to his target, just laser it down to him. His footwork has gotten better. And to me, again, that leads from he's also playing basketball. And one of the assistant coaches over at Pinnacle has said that if he grows a little bit more, he might start getting basketball scholarship offers. I mean, this season, maybe next season. Again, I'm not trying to start up a controversy or rumor mill, but I mean, they're just saying from the talent there and the work that he puts in. I mean, do I think he's more committed to playing football? Absolutely. But we just talked about dual sport athletes. Pardon me. I mean, could he go to Oklahoma and play football and basketball? I mean, I'm sure Lincoln Riley would probably be okay with that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, coaches love dual sport guys. I mean, Trent Dilfer was talking about that at Elite 11 when I watched him speak. I think he said 85% of the quarterbacks there that year would played another sport, either football or basketball, or baseball, track, something like that. So that's great to have that second sport.
Well, for Spencer Rattler, again, I mean, committed, like Donovan said, to OU. I mean, Bob Stoops had to sell. Bob Stoops steps down, but Lincoln Riley gets the job. So I think, to overstate the obvious, that kept Rattler at ease. But now we shift to the other junior quarterback who took over halfway through his freshman season at Mater Dei. We saw him earlier in the show in the highlights, and man, this kid can do it all. I mean, JT Daniels has only thrown 251 passes on the season, which doesn't seem like a lot, but he's completed 73.7% of his passes, almost 74%. That is, I don't care what level that is. That's like video game. That's video game numbers right there. 2,862 yards, 36 touchdowns to just 3 picks. And I say video game numbers. That's like video game non-reality accuracy right there. And I mean, but we saw it in the highlights, Donovan, is that he can spread the ball around, right, but he keeps everybody in the offense happy, which obviously in football with so many playmakers on every team, that's hard to do, and he seems to have, like I said, the crew very happy.
Throws the ball around a lot to different types of guys, running backs, receivers, tight ends, makes everybody happy, like you said. There's a reason he won Gatorade State Player of the Year as a sophomore last year at Mater Dei, and only true freshman that started at Mater Dei, Matt Barkley, did pretty well in college, I would say. JT's obviously, I think JT's the best quarterback Mater Dei's had. They've had Cole Brennan, they've had Matt Leinart, had Matt Barkley. think he's the best, and I know that's saying a lot. He's also my number 1 quarterback overall in the country, regardless of class. 67 touchdowns last year as a sophomore. He should win Gatorade State Player of the Year. This year, the only difference should be a national champion, should be a state champion. They lost to Bosco last year in the semifinals. But, I mean, like you read off the numbers, I mean, that doesn't even give it justice. He's only playing like half, maybe 3/4 sometimes. So, I mean, he could have more insane numbers. But, I mean, right there, it just goes to show you JT Daniels is one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and he'll continue to be that for next year and the rest of this year as well. And USC fans should be very happy. You got Sam Darnold leaving. You got him coming. If Sam Darnold stays and JT Daniel comes in, Clay Helton, T. Martin, pretty happy, right?
Yeah, I mean, if Sam Darnold stays, you're right. For one more year, he'll go through his senior year, and then Darnold would leave, go to the NFL, and then here comes your next 4-year starter.
No disrespect to Matt Fink and Jack
Absolutely.
Sears, but, I mean, JT Daniels is the truth.
But you said it. I mean, 67 touchdowns last year. I mean, 36, you're saying he's only playing, half, maybe 3/4. But, again, doesn't seem like he seems the type that's getting better, more, obviously very more efficient, but also isn't worried about all the numbers.
Right.
Doesn't really care. And I'm not saying doesn't care, but, I mean, he's getting better. And I don't think he'll take that chip off his shoulder when he lands at SC because, again, like you said, he could be the starting quarterback there.
He wants to win football games. That's his number 1 priority. He's a winner. He's got one of the highest IQs I've seen. Just the way he delivers the ball and the placement of the ball. He doesn't throw to the receiver's numbers. He puts it at a spot and they catch the ball. And that's what you're supposed to do as a quarterback. I mean, he's a leader of the team, like you said, coming out. He's not a vocal leader, but he's definitely the leader of that team in the locker room. And I follow him on Twitter. He's definitely the leader and takes control of that locker room and that team, Mater Dei team. So Coach Rattler is probably super happy about that, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. Well, all right. We're finally going to give you the 2 running backs that we talked about. 2 of the best running backs on the West Coast, and they are headed up to Boise State. That is Andrew Van Buren of Chaminade in California and Zidane Thomas of Centennial, but not Corona in California, Peoria here in Arizona. And, well, I mean, let's start with Andrew Van Buren, Donovan. I mean, this kid from Chaminade, I mean,
Right.
just what I mean, okay, I guess beast is too obvious to say, but I mean, just the seemingly the full package at running back.
Yeah, I mean, 5.8 per carry, 5 games plus with 100 yards, 21 touchdowns already in the season. And he got 9 receptions and 136 yards. And I know that's not much, but I mean, look at the impact he's doing in the reception game. I mean, it's just phenomenal. I mean, that's like 15 yards.
Yeah,
like
15 yards a catch.
So, yeah, I mean, White, the quarterback there in Chaminade, they're making a run for it. They're undefeated right now, and he's a big part of that. Van Buren's one of the most underrated quarterbacks, and he's finally getting his recognition going to Boise State. It's a good fit for him. It reminds me a lot of Jay Ajayi, a guy they had before. He used to play on the Dolphins. Now he's on the Eagles, 81 Eagles. So, yeah, he reminds me a lot of him. So Boise State fans should be very happy about him coming in next year.
Well, they are very happy, and then they probably got even the happier news, too, or as happy as when Zidane Thomas from Peoria Centennial here in Arizona committed a few months ago. I mean, this kid, absolutely unbelievable, got himself kind of on the map last year, but his breakout game this year, well, I guess you can't say breakout, but his big game this year, St. Thomas Aquinas, the Centennial Coyotes here in Peoria, shut them out. I'm going to let that marinate with you guys. They shut St. Thomas Aquinas out.
First time in school history for Aquinas they've ever been shut out. So
Exactly.
pretty impressive.
Exactly. And they only scored 12 points. Zidane Thomas had a absolutely phenomenal moment in that game. I had to rewind this play about 20 times, and if you go and if you can look at it, it is unbelievable because I don't know how much of a gap there is. There's really no hole. I don't know how he squeezed, ducked under, kept his balance, goes through the line, and then is sprinting to the end zone where his mom is sitting. First time she's ever seen him play. They're originally from Florida. They're beating a team from Florida, and he scores the only touchdown. Yeah, like you said, a special moment. But, man, I mean, his numbers last year were video game, and this year behind that, like I like to call them, it's a compliment. The big uglies up front doing their job because they want to run the ball. You know what they're going to do, but they say good luck stopping us.
Exactly. He put over last year. He was at 22 touchdowns, over 2,000 yards, and this year he's on pace to do even better. I mean, the playoffs just started here. He's at 18 touchdowns, 147 carries, but he's got 1,483 yards. And I mean, it's 148.3 a game. He's at 10.1 per carry. He's got 8 games plus with 100 yards. So I mean, that's just phenomenal. And he's playing the tops in Arizona. And like I said, versus that St. Thomas Aquinas team, I mean, he put himself on the map. That team was already on the map. He put himself on the map with that game, especially being a Florida kid.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely. And again, I mean, people in the state knew the last few years that this kid was very, very special. But for Zidane Thomas, I mean, just wow. I mean, what a game there, what a season. And again, they lost their last game before the first round of the playoffs. They won their first round game, and again, would like to cap it off with a state championship. So who's your Thunder and who's your Lightning? I mean, because it's an easy cliche to use, but I mean, it's because it's true. I mean, you look at Van Buren, you look at Thomas.
I would say Thomas is the Lightning. Van Buren's the Thunder. Van Buren's a little bit bigger. He's a little bit bigger guy too, about 6'2", 220. And Zidane Thomas, he's a big guy too. I mean, he's 5'10" and a half, about 185, 190. But he's got that quick lightning speed, and his agility and acceleration is upper echelon for sure. I mean, like I said, he is becoming one of the best running backs in the country overall. I mean, especially, both of those guys can catch the ball. They can be in the slot for you. So Thunder and Lightning, a little shake and bake. I like it.
There we go. Thunder, Lightning, shake and bake.
Yeah, Brian Harsin would be very happy with Boise State.
I was just about to say, Brian Hart, he knows the defensive coordinators. I mean, yeah, in a game that's about passing, you put two running backs in there that have no problem lowering their shoulder and bowling you over. Those two right there, and Thomas and Van Buren, that's going to be a heck of a connection for Boise State. And again, having both there, I think the numbers will be probably even better because they'll be fresh. I mean, they'll be split in time. So again, that'll be very interesting the next few years up there. But man, well, there's a lot of great players. Obviously, we can't get to it all in one show. There's a lot out there, but
more to come.
Exactly. Like Donovan said, we have more to come. Again, you can follow, subscribe to Passport Players on YouTube and check out all the highlights, the games, and check us out. Comment. Let us know what you guys want to see. Let us know what you want to hear. But you got to subscribe to it to find out on YouTube, Passport Players TV, and we'll be there. But for my man Donovan James, our first show, I'm Michael Caratanudo. We're going to say goodbye from Copper Sky Recreation here in Maricopa, Arizona, and the first National Prep Stars show.